it isn't a winning culture. Because if it was a winning culture, you would be disappointed. Not only by the loss, but the manner of the loss. If it was a winning culture, you'd be angry, disappointed, and say that no, the team should have done better. Building a team that can compete. Really. Veterans, guys at the peak, young guys. That is a squad of winners. Because you know what youngsters can bring, you know what peak guys have to bring, and what veterans have already brought and they can possibly bring again. That is the definition of a winning squad. All I want is truth. All I want is truth and honesty. That's the first thing. I mean, we'll get to the effects of losing and what that means, things, the great name being ruined. But let's first start with honesty, because I think that is a good, strong place to start with. And the fact of the matter is, certain people are not honest. You can say anything about me back and forth, but one thing you can't do to me or any fan, true fan, is treat us as idiots, treat us as fools, treat us as morons. You can't do that. I'm sorry, you can't. I don't accept. I refuse to accept. So that's where we bring this in. The culture of Chelsea is about winning. So let's even start there. This dude says the culture of Chelsea is about winning. Okay. You have to now understand this. This was said before the United game. It's very important. This quote came out before the United game. So this all happened before the United game. The culture of Chelsea is about winning. How we are going to change a culture in a club that is about winning. No. We don't want to change the culture. We want to build something, a project, but the culture is the same, winning. You see, guys, this is a classic case of having your cake and eating it. Classic case. Like, this is like a premier, superb, beautiful case of having your cake and eating it. Because what this guy is engaging in is trying to play both sides of the fence. Very simply. He's trying to play both sides of the fence. So it's about a winning culture, but you're trying to build something. Those are two different things. Winning culture football, those are two different things. A winning culture is about now. A project, building something, is about winning in the future. Those are two very different things. Peak Real Madrid, when they got Benzema, Cristiano, all these guys, that was a winning culture. When Abramovich came through, it was about a winning culture. It's not about winning in the future, it's about winning now. PSG, even if they failed exponentially in the UCL, it was about a winning culture. We are here to win the UCL right now with all the players that we've brought in. And there's going to be a running theme here. Because you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot, and I refuse to believe that you have a project when you've done this. I refuse to believe that this is a long-term project when you've spent this amount of money. This has never happened in football before. Nobody has ever spent this amount of money. And we're going to get into the area here because, guys, I'm coming into the root of the problem here. I'm trying to get into the root of the issue, and I've done some research. I've found some fascinating things. So that's where we're at. You say that it's a winning culture. You claim that it's a winning culture. But my thing is, It doesn't make sense for it to be a winning culture. It doesn't make sense for it to be a winning culture because at the end of the day, you are now quoting products. But the key thing we have to understand is this was said before the United game. This was before the United game. So it's very important. The time scale is important here because I'm trying to build something. For me to build something, you guys, you've got to listen carefully. This was before the United game because I know what this is about. And I knew what this was about. He's playing the PR game. So he's trying to put forth what this is really about, which is a long-term project that isn't about winning. While at the same time, say it's about winning to actually appease the guys who are against the project. So his employers and his masters are telling him that, look, you've got to try and play the PR game. Try and appease the doubters of our BS long-term glorified orphanage. Because that's what Chelsea are. Chelsea are a glorified orphanage. It's what it is. Because I need to remind you that this is not a winning culture. There is not a winning culture here. No. That's left with Abramovich. So, oh wow, damn. So this was after the game. This was after the game. Pochettino on United defeats. I'm not disappointed because I think they gave everything. If you ask most Chelsea fans, after that game against United, where a struggling United team, a United team that are struggling, where fans have been calling for Ten Hag to be sacked, that same team puts forth 20 plus shots. 20 plus shots these guys had. That second half was embarrassing. The way United destroyed Chelsea in that second half, it was embarrassing because forget the scoreline. If you watch the game, the manner in which United handled and totally dominated, controlled, and outplayed Chelsea, it was embarrassing. Because you can lose, but there are ways in which you lose. Not all losses are the same. They're not. Ultimately, a loss is a loss. Ultimately, a loss is a loss, but not all losses are the same. And that was a bad loss. I'm not disappointed because I think they gave everything. To not be disappointed is proof that it isn't a winning culture. Because if it was a winning culture, you would be disappointed. Not only by the loss, but the manner of the loss. If it was a winning culture, you'd be angry, disappointed, and say that, no, the team should have done better. But if it is a long-term project that takes time and is about patience, then this is what it's about. So Pochettino, stop lying. Stop being a politician. Stop playing both sides and stand on business. Stand on truth. Stand on what you're about. Stand on what you're about, which is you're a stooge, you're a puppet here to promote a glorified orphanage. Simple. It's simple. We go even more. So he expands. Pochettino on Chelsea results. We're a different project. We're not going to change what we have been saying from the beginning of the season. With many players out, it's very, very difficult. You see, it's not becoming annoying now. It's not becoming annoying now. Because what I don't get is if you didn't spend much, you didn't have much to spend, it is what it is. And I'm going to keep on coming back to this image here. This looks like a club that has money. So if you know that you have access to money and you had a preseason and one of your star players, Nkunku, got injured when there were weeks left in the transfer window, why wasn't a replacement signed? Because this clearly shows that you have enough money to find a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. This shows that you have enough money to get at least every player that has 2 or 3 positions for every player. And also, Pochettino, do you know how many injuries Newcastle have? Do you know how many injuries those guys have? But they are very, very fine. Trust me, they are very, very, very fine, bro. And they've still been able to manage with all of their injuries to the point where they almost beat PSG in Paris. So, and we all know what happened when they faced you. We know what happened. So, no, the injuries, that is a pathetic excuse. That is a pathetic excuse. So you see, what we have to realize here is that it's not about Pochettino. It's not about Pochettino. You see, the mistake that people are making is, oh, the manager, he better fix up, do the tactics and everything. If you ask an idiot, an imbecile, to build a mansion, a well-crafted mansion, and then you come back and then you look at a shack, why the hell are you going to be angry? You'd be a fool to be angry. Why are you angry at the imbecile for building a shack when you asked him to build a mansion? The imbecile is an imbecile. He has no idea how to build a mansion because he's an imbecile. So why should he be angry when he builds a shack for you instead of a mansion? So people criticizing Pochettino saying is that I can't remember the last time I insulted Pochettino because I'm like, I'd be a fool to. Because when he was hired, I knew that, oh yeah, this guy's a loser. He's essentially a loser. The only thing of note that he's won is a Uber Eats with PSG, which means nothing. His greatest achievement was making it to a UCL final with Tottenham, which really wasn't him. It's really the individuals who said, what's up? Shout out to Lucas Moura, who after scoring a hat-trick in the second leg against Ajax, his reward was to be benched by a striker who hadn't played for 2 months. He's a loser. So you being angry at him, you're not looking at the greater problem here. You're not looking at the greater problem here. This has always been the problem. This has always been the problem. Again, if you hire a musician, let's make it, if you hire a musician to build a mansion, what do you expect? If you hire a carpenter to perform a piano piece or to play solo guitar at a rock concert, what do you expect? The person you hire is important because that will reflect what you will get. If you hire C, you'll get C work. If you hire B, you'll get B work. If you hire A, you'll get A work. It's really as simple as that. It's really as simple as that. You know? So when you have your boy coming in with quotes like this, where do you think it's coming from? So you being angry, like, oh, where do you think it's coming from? It's coming from the owners. Because they set the stage. Because once upon a time, he set the stage. So when Abramovich was hiring, in his mind is, okay, I'm hiring top managers here. So the managers I'm hiring, these are guys that have credit in the bank, they got clout, they've won something, they are of meaning. There was not a single, apart from Lampard, where that was more legend tax. So there was like a legend tax, there was a former player tax. So apart from Lampard there, which was former player tax, everybody that Abramovich hired was someone of consequence. Even Scolari, who ultimately failed, he won a freaking World Cup. The two managers that these guys have hired, they're not of any consequence. They're of no consequence. You know? So the owner is the guy that dictates how things roll and they dictate the culture. So, my dear Poch, you saying that we are a winning culture, that's a lie. You're lying. You saying that Chelsea is a winning culture, you are telling a lie. And I need you to stop lying. Because I know why you were hired. I know what your employers told you. And I know what this club is. This club does not have a winning culture. It is a long-term project. It is a glorified orphanage. That's what it is. And I need you to stand in that truth. But you know what? I get it. It's politics. It's PR. So as much as I want to chastise him for lying, he's a puppet. He's not a man of consequence. He's not an alpha. He's a puppet. He's a stooge. So as a stooge, as a servant, you do your master's bidding. And he's doing his master's bidding, which is that say these right things to try to appease people. That's the thing, like, he isn't a guy who can say, no, I demand this. You don't demand anything. You're a stooge. And he gets paid very well to be a stooge, to be a servant, to be a slave, to be subservient. Okay? All right? And to be a freaking butler to your masters, to your owners. Is what it is. Like, I mean, guys, I'm sorry. Like, you may not like it. It's may rub it the wrong way, but guys, I'm just keeping it a stack. I mean, he's a puppet. The guy's a puppet. He's not a manager. He's not someone of that you should respect. You are a stooge. You're a stooge. So, here's the thing. We have to realize, Chelsea fans, are where we're at right now. It's not time to keep it a stack, because this isn't what we're about. You see, those guys there, they get voted in. The fans choose who runs their club, because these are not owners; these are presidents. Because guess what? The fans have ownership of their club. Premier League fans, you can jump up and everything. You own diddly squat. You literally don't own anything. So an owner can come in and do whatever the heck they want with the club, and they can never get voted out. To the point where there is a report that Boehly and Eghbali are set to be part of Chelsea for the next 10 years. Just think about that. For at least the next 10 years. And in those 10 years, they no elections, and fans do not have a say as to whether they come in or not. You see, they have to do a good job. Because if they don't do a good job, when elections come through, fans can say, get out, you're not doing a good job. You're not taking a club in the right direction. See, that's real fans' ownership. But for these guys, they can do whatever the heck they want. They can make this into just a brand and a business franchise, and the fans literally cannot do anything. You have no power. So really, when I look at these Chelsea fans and say, oh, my club, my club, is it really? Is it really your club? Is it really your club, really? How can it be your club when external forces can come in and do whatever they want with your club? How is it really your club? They literally own it. They literally are the owners of the club. But for these guys, they don't own the club. They're here to do a service. And if they don't do a good service, they get voted out. Same thing in Germany. 50+1. Fans will have a clear stake in their club. So no external force can ever have a majority share within a football club. So the fans will always have a say. That's real ownership. That's real ownership. You can say, oh, bans, Liga, they can't buy anything, you're so on everything. True. That's all true. That's all true. But one thing that is also true is fans own their club. Premier League fans, Chelsea fans, we don't own the club. No. We don't have ownership. Don't you dare say that's I own my club. You know, my club. No. You can say my club. Those hashtags of Glazers out, FSG out, Boehly out, they're dumb and they're stupid. And I even feel stupid saying that, because I'm like, wait a minute, Boehly out. What the hell does that mean? It ain't going to do anything. This is Eghbali. So Eghbali, he is like He's like the co-owner of that, you know. So age 46, net worth 2.7 billion. Sporting background, none. Sporting background, none. Just stop there. So a guy feels he can go into a dressing room, the hallowed, holy place of where the manager has true ownership. He can go in there, into the dressing room with no sporting experience and say what? If you have no sporting experience, you don't know how to communicate with elite athletes, how to talk to elite athletes, how to relate to elite athletes, what the hell will things in being in a private equity firm help you in communicating with athletes? These are two totally different worlds. A private equity firm, the world of corporate and sports. Those are two very different worlds. So can you see the trash that's going on here? So Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart. Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart. These are two very important names here, because these are the guys that are the co-sporting directors of Chelsea and are head of recruitment. So Chelsea boy Vivel, who was hired, then after 7 months, was then let go for these people to pretty much do his job. Odd, because I thought the whole point was Vivel was a guy who was well sought after. You brought him in, but okay, fine. Let's see. So Lawrence Stewart, so obviously worked at Monaco, technical director, global head of scouting, Red Bull Soccer head of scouting at Leipzig. Obviously go there at Everton. Paul Winstanley. Paul Winstanley. So head of recruitment at Brighton, head of analysis at Derby County, performance analyst at Wigan. You see, that is an interesting experience. It's an interesting experience. But, and this is just what you guys should know, your CV or your experience doesn't mean much. Because I'm one of those guys where, even when I was going to a job and everything, I remember there was one employer that I had, and he was like, yeah, I look at your experience, but what I really want is when I speak to you, when I talk to you. The guy can have an amazing experience, superb experience. But when you meet him and when he's actually on the job, he's trash. Somebody, not that much experience. But when you meet it, like, wow. Like, there's a job that I got based on how good I was in the interview. My experience wasn't good. For this job that I did, he looked at me and my experience just was not good. It wasn't up to snuff. But the two people who were interviewing me, they liked me so much and they liked how I carried myself in the interview. They were like, you know what? He may not have the right experience, but I like the energy. And you know what? I did pretty well at my job. It was a sales job and I was very good at customer service. And I was told about how good I was at customer service. So if they just looked at my experience, I'd have never had that job. But because they saw my personality and how I carried myself, like, you know what? Let's put that experience to one side. I think this guy can do a good job. And I did. So for me, that experience stuff, Monaco, Brighton, I don't give a damn. This is what I care about. So this was about why they chose Poch. Arguably the biggest decision when Stanley and Stewart faced ahead of the 2023-24 campaign was who would lead the men's team. They settled on Pochettino and the at the time's close-knit staff, which came after much discussion and careful consideration. Interesting. But let's go deeper. Stewart continues, it's hard to be the right fit in terms of the person, the leadership we needed, the ability and track record of developing players and of building a team that can compete and perform in the Premier League. These are all things we are looking for. Guys, there are so many trigger words here. There are so many trigger words here. There's so many amazing words here. Let's break it down. Trigger word number 1, developing players. Cool. That's fine. Now, developing players in a vacuum, that's cool. Pep is very good at developing players. Klopp is very good at developing players. Look at what Ancelotti does with young players. But it's the combo. Building a team that can compete. The culture of Chelsea is about winning. We don't want to change the culture. Building a team that can compete and perform. The culture of Chelsea is about winning. Guys, there's an oxymoron here. To compete isn't to win. There is building a team to win. There's a building a team to compete. Those are two very different things. Okay. A winning culture is you're building a team to win with the idea of winning. Winning matches, winning trophies. Building a team to compete is a project, a process, patience. Don't conflict the two things. Do not conflict the two things. Patience, project, winning culture. Two very different things. So from here, I'm like, oh, okay. It makes sense. It makes sense here. We go even more. It has resulted in a new look men's squad of the average age of which is a little over 22 years old. It is a group built to compete under Pochettino in the Premier League this season, but also in the years ahead. So guys, now we know. So remember, this is an interview from Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley. From Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart. So Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart, this was the interview that they gave to Chelsea FC. Co-sporting directors. It makes sense now. Guys, it makes sense. So, and this is what I've always said. It's not about winning. They're not building a team to win trophies. They are building an orphanage. They're building a young team. And they feel proud that the average age is over 22. For me, that is disgusting. If a team has an average age of just over 22, that can't be a winning team. To win, you need experience. You need people who've been around the block. You need a mixture of young guys, older guys. Really, veterans, guys at the peak, young guys. That is a squad of winners. Because you know what youngsters can bring, you know what peak guys have to bring, and what veterans have already brought and they can possibly bring again. That is the definition of a winning squad. All those elements. Because all those elements, the youth, the guys at the peak, and the veterans, they can all come together and at different points in a season can help you win and achieve success. But if your team has an average age of just over 22, how is that a winning culture? How is that a winning culture? How is that a winning culture? Not only that, especially the kinds of players you've brought in. Because this isn't the case of where you're bringing in Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Bellingham. No. It ain't that. It ain't that. It ain't that. So it's the kinds of guys that you're bringing in. So when you now view this, it's like, oh, guys, well, we are staring at the wrong problem. We're staring at the wrong problem. It's not Poch. It's not. Why are you looking at the stooge? You've got to think macro. People are thinking far too micro. You've got to think macro, big picture. The people they want to hire are guys that are part of their idea. So the reason why Pochettino is using the word project is because that's what he was brought in for. Him using the word winning culture is to try to appease guys like me, hoping I'll fall for it. But I'm smarter than that. I'm pretty smart, and I can see through the lies. So, Poch, you may trick other people. You ain't gonna trick me. You ain't gonna trick your boy half up, bro. Because I've been around the block, yo. So, you don't trick me, mate. You ain't gonna trick me, yo. So, the sad reality, guys, this is the sad reality, is Chelsea's a project. Chelsea's a process. And what people need to realize is that not all processes succeed. Philly 76ers, they don't always succeed. And as Tuchel said, quite clearly, in today's world, there is no time. You have to win now. You have to win now. You have to win now. And again, there has never been a club in history that has done this. There's never been a club in history who has spent this amount of money and brought in this amount of players to win in 10 years. And people say, oh, no, but this is more sustainable. So you're saying that these guys, Klelik and Boehly, they are somehow smarter than guys who run Bayern, Real Madrid, Barcelona. Bayern Munich have been known to be one of the best run football clubs in the world. And they'd never do trash like this because Bayern Munich is a football club. And their fans hold them to task and ensure that they run as football clubs. Because do you know why? Because if they don't do that, if they don't run as a competitive football club, do you know what happens? They get voted out. But unluckily for us, Chelsea can be run as a business, as a long-term process to buy young players, develop young players, flip them for a profit, and compete and try to just be competitive in the Premier League. Not necessarily, okay, if we win, great. If we lose, it's fine. We had our worst performance in years. What did our manager say? I'm not disappointed. We gave everything. We had arguably one of our worst performances in years. We were trash and horrendous against a team who are also struggling. And what does our manager say? I am not disappointed. We gave everything. It's a holiday camp. No one is held to task. Obi Mikel was saying the podcast are projects. Obi Mikel and Maluda, they were saying that project, process, that doesn't exist. You're here to win now. And pressure makes diamonds. Pressure separates the elite from the riffraff. The true elite and the true winners, they rise to pressure. So that's the reality, guys. And the bottom line here is we're a glorified orphanage. We don't have a winning culture. There is no winning culture in this team. And this is about building a process to hopefully win in 5, 6 years. But the question you have to ask yourself is, Modric, Nico Jackson, Palmer, Badiashile, what if they don't turn out to be good in a few years? What if they flatline? What if they decline?